Hi everyone, it's Janet Wakeland with Remarkably Created, and I'm back, as I told you earlier in the day, to take a look at the 3D Mini Corrugated Embossing Folder. And while it has the word mini in it, it really kind of implies the closeness of the corrugated waffles that are part of this. It is a 6 by 6¼ inch folder. It's also 3D, so it's going to give us some really deep grooves. So what we're going to do is we are going to take a look at a whole bunch of just ways that it looks on different papers, different things that you can do with it. And then when we're all said and done, we're going to take a minute to look at some great samples. So I'm going to leave these here for just a second and do something I hate to do, but that's to go off camera for just a second while I grab those samples. I'm sitting here staring at them. Nothing like looking over top of your desk and realizing that the samples are on the other table. So we've got all of these great samples then that we'll be going through after we look at all of the possibilities with the folder. So you're going to want to make sure that you hang around to the end, or of course come back and view the video. In addition, I mentioned as a thank you for reaching 15,000 followers that I would be doing some giveaways this month. And so I do have a brand new Mini Corrugated folder. Make sure that you are a follower of my page to be eligible. Just go ahead and click that following button. And then just like, comment, or share. And I will announce a winner on Friday. So brand new folder here to give away. So one of the things that I really love about this folder is just how deep it is. And it adds just this amazing, can you hear just how deep it is? This amazing texture to cardstock, real deep. You're also going to see it though be just as deep on designer papers. Sometimes it's going to be subtle because of the print, but it's still very deep on that print. This is that beautiful wood grain paper. I don't know if you could see a little bit of that. Then just looking at some of the other designer prints and just how it just kind of changes the look of the paper, I think, by bringing in that corrugation. One of the things that I tried to be careful of as I was working with the folder and playing around was the directionality, for example, of the print, the directionality of the grain if I was doing wood grain paper or something like that, just to make it more visually pleasing. One of the things that I absolutely love to do when I have any type of new folder, look at this, isn't this cool, is to just play, either with 6 by 6 pieces, 4 by 6 pieces, scrap pieces that I have laying around, but I absolutely love just playing. And these don't go to waste. I have a little box that I keep them in that are sized for 6 by 6 paper or smaller. And then I can grab them out when I'm ready. Nothing goes to waste. But I just find this very inspirational by just playing around. This is just some regular striped paper, and I just wanted to make it look a little deeper. Again, you can use solids, you can use prints, you can use cardstock. Look at this, look at the blue. So just playing around with some of those. Now I'm going to talk to you here. This is starting to crack a little bit. I'm going to give you some tips about that. But here, look at this. Look how pretty. It just changes it up a little bit. Adds some freshness to your different papers. Again, just looking kind of at some of that freshness. It even works really well on your shimmer paper. You're going to have really nice deep corrugated grooves on your shimmer papers. Catch some of that sparkle on the camera. It also looks really great on your vellums. So you're going to be able to get a nice corrugated look on your vellum. So again, now you've got that kind of see-through look with the touchy-feely textural pieces. And then it does look amazing on your metallics. And I was even able to get a little bit of corrugation on an acetate sheet, which I think would be a lot of fun for a shaker card. So lots and lots of possibilities. Play around with different kinds of cardstocks. Play around again with your scraps, designer papers, and your different cardstocks. I did mention that that one's starting to crack, and as I was playing with it, I did notice that because it's so deep, it was breaking the fiber up on the designer papers. So here you can see it is breaking them up. And I did find a solution to that. And for that, what you do is you just take some water and you're gonna lightly mist. I personally use this, it's called a plant mister. My hairdresser turned me on to this probably 8-9 years ago, maybe even a little bit longer. And it's just a very, very gentle mist. And I find if I just lightly just do a little spritz over it, then when I run it through the embossing folder, I'm not getting any of that cracking or anything. And it just takes a second or two for it to dry. So just because this is thinner paper, and again, this is such a deep and heavy embossing folder that you are going to find yourself cracking if you don't mist it up just a little bit. And these fine mist bottles are amazing. I'll link the source for mine after this video is over. So let's look at a couple of other things that you can do with them besides just running them through the folder and giving yourself that nice corrugated look. So I just have one of our blending pens. I'm just gonna tap off over here and I'm just gonna rub it over the top. It's just gonna lay down on the top surface of the corrugated. I'm not pressing hard. I'm not pressing to get that ink inside. I'm just rubbing it over the top, which is gonna kind of give me a little bit of a striped effect. And let me just go over a little bit darker so you can see that. And again, I'm trying really hard not to press down inside. So here you can see, you can just go ahead and blend over top of it, and it's gonna give you kind of a striped look. But because this is raised, it's really easy to use those blending brushes on. We're gonna hold on to this ink pad for just a second. Something else that you can do, and do I happen to have a ruler handy? No, well, we'll make it do with this bone folder, just a straight edge. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take my marker and I'm gonna take the writing end, the bullet point, and I'm gonna go down inside the grooves, and it's just gonna be another way to add some of that color. And I have a card that's finished that's gonna show you this, so you don't have to worry about that. So you're able to just take your markers and with a straight edge, go in between your lines, and you're just gonna be able to create really cool stripes in between. It ends up looking like a really pretty awning at a fair or something like that, depending on the colors that you're working with. So use your markers and a straight edge to add those stripes in between the corrugation pieces. Something else that you can do, a lot of times we'll find corrugated paper like this inside of cardboard boxes. I think some cookies also have corrugated paper like this and stuff. A lot of fun with it. But all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of pull on it just a little bit here for just a second with my bone folder. You can also take this on the edge of a desk, kind of if you have a corner. Let me go up all the way up here in this corner, maybe you can see it. And where that edge is, just kind of, and what I'm trying to do is just break up the fibers just a little bit, because I want to be able to separate this out. Okay, I want to be able to kind of pull it apart just a little bit, and Stampin' Up's cardstock will do that once you've broken up the fibers just a little bit. And now I can start to pull it just a little bit, kind of pulling some of the paper off of the top, making it look like that distressed corrugated cardboard. Just kind of pulling it apart. So, and you can actually save some, see how it's got that distressed look to it just by separating it out. Save those pieces and use them for those really fun layered backgrounds. So you can go ahead and pull them apart. Don't forget to turn it on the diagonal. Don't always just go up and down, but put your cardstock in on a diagonal. That's going to give you a whole nother look. Something else that you can do for a fun look as well is to simply just catch the edge of your card And then you've got this whole piece, put a little piece of ribbon around here. You've got this for some decorating or something. You're gonna see in the samples where I did this folder here and then a new die cut pattern of Friendship on this side. But again, just catch part of it. Nobody ever says you have to use the whole thing. And this way too, you don't have to have the corrugated piece layered onto a quarter sheet. It's a great way to save some of your cardstock. Another fun thing to do is to think about what you can use the corrugation on. So here I did the mini alphabet. And then when we go through the samples, you're gonna see how we worked with it with die cutting. A little tip for die cutting is really that there is no tip. I found that I could have a die cut image and then put it in the corrugating folder, or I could have a whole quarter sheet like this and then die cut a whole bunch of pieces out of it. Either way, it corrugated well. It wasn't an issue whether I die cut first or die cut after I corrugated, if that makes sense. Something else fun that you can do with these, Stampin' Up! Has released two-tone papers, and the two-tone papers are at a weight that is between our cardstock and our designer paper, but they're called two-tone because they are, like here's the pink petunia, and or petunia pop, excuse me, and then here's a lighter version of it. And if I bend this over, you might be able to see a little bit of the difference. I think with the pecan pie, you really see it. You can see there's the pecan pie and there's a lighter version of it. Think of it as our light and dark Stampin' Blends, which is really cool. Here you can see, as I corrugated it, some of that white showing through. And that's because our cardstock is dyed the whole way through, okay? There is no white core, no white center. It's dyed on both sides. It's actually one of the hardest cardstocks to make, is a card that is dyed the whole way through, trying to get that consistency. In this case, the color is actually printed on the two sides, so you have a little bit more ability to be consistent, but you're gonna have that great edge. But what that allows you to do is to take a sanding block, and I'll tell you, next time you're out and about in town, stop by one of those stores like Home Depot, Lowe's, or stop by the tool section like at Walmart or someplace like that. I love the ones that are basically got grit on all four sides so that I can hold it. It's got different grits depending on the sides. But if I start to just work this across the raised edges, can you see the white starting to come through? So I'm going to be able to distress these corrugated papers really nicely with this two-tone. I'm going to be able to give you a whole nother look. For those of you that like some of that old cracked look, this is going to be fun for you to be able to distress that two-tone paper, either by sanding it or then by tearing it and releasing those white edges that you see here. That's happening. So you can sand it to release the white core, or you can tear it. There's other things that you can do, but for the purpose of the corrugated folders, I wanted to give you these two easy things to do. So let's pull in our Stamp Cut and Emboss machine, and I'm gonna show you something else here. Let's pull that in. And we're gonna run the folder through the machine. Let's get all of this out of our way. Okay, so before I do that, I have two pieces that I've already corrugated, and technically they shouldn't be corrugated, but I'm gonna put them back in the machine. I'm gonna line them up with the corrugations. I got ahead of myself for this. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take an ink pad, in this case, Shamrock, working ahead because there's some paper that I'll be showing you in some videos. And I'm gonna put ink on both sides. You don't need to do ink on both sides for this technique. I'm doing both sides so that I can show you the difference between the top, which is the side with the Stampin' Up! Logo, and the bottom, okay? So I wanna be able to show you that. So let's go ahead and let's put these papers back in here. And I'm gonna close it up. And I have my Stamp Cut and Emboss. And we're gonna run this through. Hold on. line it up. Got something sticky on my folder. And let's set this aside. I'm going to leave that out. I need to clean that. So we're going to open this up. And so this is the back side. And then this is the top side. In this corrugating folder, there's not much of a difference. And that's kind of what I wanted you to see. So it really doesn't matter what side you're going to ink up because of the type. If you're used to inking up your folder, normally the top side and the back side give you a different look. One embeds the ink down in and one lays the ink on top. But again, because of the type of folder that this is with the even waviness, it pretty much looks the same on either side. This just simply gets rinsed off with water and you can pat it dry with a paper towel or a towel, or you can just stand it up to dry. So just something else fun that you can be doing with this folder. So let's bring all of these ideas to life by looking at some fun samples. So first, let's go back to those amazing brand new colors. So this is Secret C. This is Strawberry Slush. This is Darling Ducklings, Timid Tiger, and then we have our beautiful cloud cover. All of them were made with the painted stripe background stamp, the Thankful bundle that you'll see in the coming days. And then we used markers. But this background, this painted stripe looks so good with the corrugated folder. So one way to use that is as a complete background, okay? Just to give the entire card a pop by using that corrugated folder for a full-on background. And then look at these in-color dots. Aren't they amazing? Oh my gosh. They just have a little bit of sparkle to them, opalescence almost. So these are in colors. And just to give you an idea with that full-on background. Then I mentioned about using die cuts with them. In this case, we used the Everyday Arches. This is some of the botanical textures. So just adding that little piece just distresses this wood, Country Woods designer paper just a little bit more, just adds a little bit more to it. Haven't put a greeting on this one yet, but I wanted you to see where we're at with it. You can also layer, both of these are corrugated. So you can actually layer your corrugated pieces, and we'll add a little tag and a little greeting to this one. Something fancy, maybe a golden wedding anniversary or something. But I just wanted you to see that you can layer corrugated pieces. You don't have to limit yourself to just one piece, guys. Here again, that Country Woods, and then just using a die cut, and it just distresses it up just a little bit more for you. Remember those broken pieces? I showed you how they were kind of falling apart just a little bit. Well, I am one of those people that like, you know, vintage finds, and I like to repurpose old things. And so I kept the one. Those cracks, I salvaged it, then corrugated one of the frames here and added the thank you and the little circle and some white twine. So I went ahead and salvaged it, making it look kind of maybe like an old painting or something like that. So I don't usually throw anything away. And then we had our corrugated alphabet. So I just kind of wanted to show you a sample using that alphabet. This little strip right here is also corrugated. This is our Strawberry Slush. And there's Strawberry Slush twine. It's actually available now as part of a trio of twines. And then we just flicked a little bit of Strawberry Slush ink onto the black and white. So we've got a pretty pink and black card. I think pink and black is a great color combination. So I'm going to hold this one up. Earlier I had talked to you about, hold on, where did this sample go? It's probably right here in front of me. Just doing a partial edge of your card. So this one is a partial edge, but then can you see that really cool die? From where that part is, then we just use the die on this part right here. And then again, we went ahead and corrugated this print piece right here. Inhale, exhale. It's enough if all you did today was survive. So just kind of a nice calming card goes with the greetings on that one. Let's keep looking. My daughter's coming to stay and dog sit for us. Here on the bottom, that concept of using the markers in the valley of the corrugation. So it goes up and down. So you've got your rounded top part and then you've got a valley in between them. And I just used the bullet part of the markers. There's that new really cool thin velvet paper. New border. So you guys are getting some other sneak peeks in here as well. Again, the everyday arches. I also corrugated the leaves. So you can corrugate anything, guys. It's just about playing and getting those samples and those colors out there. A couple more yet for you. Don't forget to look at your memories and more cards. That's going to give them a whole nother look and freshen them up for you. And one of the things that I love about this corrugated folder, any embossing folder, it's a very inexpensive way to freshen up your stash of papers, to freshen up stamps, to just breathe some life into them and to get you to be re-looking at them in a new way and pulling them out and using them. I'm a big believer in using, not hoarding. I think sometimes there's a little guilt associated with shopping for new product with you hoard them and you've got all this stuff you've never used. So I like to use it up so I can shop guilt-free. Here's a fun new one for you. Welcome home. Great for a little realtor, the 2 little keys from our Tags to Go set. Look at this beautiful paper. Isn't that gorgeous? And just a tiny little piece of corrugated. Just a tiny little bit for that visual interest. And then lastly, how about an over-the-top card for Grandma? And this is a sneak peek of some new paper coming. But again, just that little piece right here that was corrugated. And then we just went wow and big for Grandma. Right? Love you, Grandma. We've got that little piece on the inside. So hopefully you're excited about that corrugated folder. It is available now in my online store. But don't forget, I'm giving you a chance to win a brand new one. Just make sure you're a follower of my page. Like, share, comment for chances to win, and I'll announce that winner on Friday. And then I will be back tomorrow night at 8 p.m. with another product preview from the March releases. Thanks, guys.